Okay, let's unpack this. Think about your inbox for a second.
Mm-hmm.
That relentless count of unread messages, the threads that feel like they'll never end. The constant feeling that managing email is your actual job.
It's a flood, absolutely. A real-time drain for so many people.
Right. Be honest. Haven't you wished, just once, that someone, or maybe, well, something, could just handle it for you?
That feeling, that sense of being just buried under digital communication, it's incredibly relatable. It's a massive bottleneck.
Exactly. And that's why we're doing this deep dive today. Because Google DeepMind is reportedly working on something that tackles this head-on, an AI email assistant.
Yeah, and we've got details from a recent report that sort of pulls back the curtain on this project.
We do. And what's outlined in this report, it goes way beyond the smart replies or, the simple filters we see today.
Oh, definitely. It describes a system aiming for a much deeper level of autonomy. Really quite ambitious.
It is. So our mission today is to dive into what this source material reveals about this assistant, how it's conceived, what it actually aims to do for your workflow.
Uh-huh. The tech reportedly powering it, too.
Right, and what it might mean for the sheer volume of email we all face.
Hmm.
As we get into this, what's your gut reaction? What really stands out to you about this idea of an AI maybe taking over big chunks of your inbox?
Well, the immediate thought is, frankly, relief. The potential for relief. But that's followed almost instantly by questions of, control and trust.
Sure.
It's a powerful concept, no doubt, but with some really complex implications.
Okay, let's jump right into what the source describes as the core idea, the executive summary, if you will.
Right.
It positions this not just as like a better smart reply feature, it's something designed to actively manage your inbox, draft responses that sound distinctively like you, and even step in to make certain low-level decisions for you.
And the report explicitly says the goal is to mimic your personal tone and your decision-making style.
Exactly. That emphasis on mimicry is fascinating, isn't it?
Right.
It feels like a real shift.
It really does. It's not just about raw efficiency anymore. It seems to be about maintaining your unique digital voice, your presence.
Even when an AI is acting for you.
Precisely. It's attempting to become a true digital extension of your personality and your workflow. That's the big idea here.
So why is Google pouring DeepMind's resources into this? The report frames it as a huge leap in personal productivity, sure,
Which it could be.
but also as a key part of Google's broader strategy. They're looking to weave this kind of advanced generative AI deep into the core tools we use every day: Gmail, Calendar, Tasks.
Yeah, and if you look at the bigger picture strategically, it makes perfect sense. Millions work within Google Workspace.
Right.
Integrating a really capable AI assistant directly into those tools, well, it reinforces their value proposition. It's about keeping Google essential in this new AI era, making the whole ecosystem indispensable.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does this report suggest the assistant can actually do? First up, this personalized responses you mentioned. How does it make them sound like me?
Well, according to the details in the source, it learns from your past communications, your emails, basically.
Right.
It analyzes your specific writing style, the phrases you use often, your typical tone. Are you usually formal, casual, super concise? And the patterns in how you've responded to different kinds of emails before. The aim is to generate drafts that, when you look at them, you think, yeah, that sounds like something I'd write.
And tailored to the context, presumably.
Exactly. Tailored to the specific email you received, who sent it, all of that.
Okay, that handles the drafting part. But what about just the sheer volume coming in? The report talks about inbox management, triage.
Yes, the source describes a system designed to prioritize your incoming mail automatically. It learns your habits.
How?
It learns to identify emails based on urgency, maybe relevance, or perhaps how important the sender is to you. This lets it do things like automatically archive routine newsletters you never open.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Right. Or flag emails from key contacts, maybe even filter out sophisticated spam that might otherwise slip through. It's all based on how you typically handle your mail.
And summaries, too.
Yeah, it also mentions features to summarize those really long email threads and pull out the critical action items or questions, give you a quick digest instead of wading through it all.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, maybe a little bit sci-fi even. The idea of autonomous decisions. The report suggests it can handle some decision-making itself.
This is where it definitely steps beyond just organizing and drafting. Now, the source is careful to specify these would be low-level, routine tasks.
Like what, for example?
Well, Think about acknowledging that a document was received, sending a standard confirmation for a meeting request that fits your usual schedule pattern, or providing a basic, kind of templated answer to a frequently asked question that the AI has learned. You always answer the same way.
So repetitive stuff.
Exactly. It's designed to act almost like a digital executive assistant for those predictable, repetitive interactions you handle day in, day out.
And this doesn't operate in a silo, right? The source emphasizes integration with the rest of Google Workspace.
Precisely. The report really highlights a seamless connection with Gmail, Calendar, and Tasks. And this cross-referencing is key.
How does that work?
Well, for example, you get an email about a meeting. The AI could, through this integration, instantly check your calendar, see if you're free. And based on preferences, it's learned from your past behavior, maybe even send a confirmation automatically. Or propose an alternative time if you're booked. It connects the dots across your digital workspace.
Okay, so we've got a sense of what it's supposed to do. Let's touch on the tech underneath. But keeping it accessible, like the source does, it's built on DeepMind's models.
That's right. The report indicates it leverages DeepMind's advanced large language models. These are, complex AI systems that understand and generate human-like text.
Similar to things like Gemini or AlphaCode.
Exactly, similar architectures. And crucially, trained on vast amounts of anonymized email data to really grasp the nuances of how we communicate in this specific context.
Okay, but the moment you mention AI and email, the big flashing light is privacy. How does the report tackle that concern? It's a natural one.
It is, and the report seems very aware of this. It makes sure to highlight the use of federated learning.
Explain that briefly.
Okay, the core idea here is that the personalization, the AI learning your specific style, your decision patterns, that happens on your own device.
Oh.
Your private email content isn't sent off to Google's central servers for training your personal model. The learning process runs locally.
So what is shared, if anything?
Only anonymized, aggregated insights about how the model is improving generally might be used to refine the overall system models shared across users, but not your specific data. Your personal content, the report stresses, stays with you.
That federated learning approach sounds pretty significant for building trust around privacy. Does the report also mention how the AI gets better at those autonomous decisions over time?
Yes, it touches on reinforcement learning for that. Think of it like the AI learning through a feedback loop.
Okay.
If an autonomous action it takes leads to a good outcome, or you explicitly approve it, that reinforces the behavior. If you override it, or it leads to a bad result, the system learns not to do that again in similar situations.
So it learns from your interactions.
Exactly. It allows the AI to become more accurate and more aligned with your preferences over time, just through you using it.
So what's the potential payoff here, according to the report? They talk about some pretty massive productivity gains, right? Even putting numbers on it.
They do. The source material gets quite specific. For email triage alone, just sorting and prioritizing, it estimates cutting the time spent from maybe 1 to 2 hours a day down to potentially under 30 minutes.
Wow.
Meeting scheduling, which, can eat up 10-15 minutes per meeting easily.
Oh, yeah.
Could become fully automated in many common cases. And drafting responses, typically taking a few minutes per email. For routine replies, it could be nearly instantaneous.
Okay, when you add all that up, that's significant.
The report suggests an overall productivity increase somewhere in the range of 30 to 50%. Especially, it notes, for roles where email is a huge part of the workload.
Who are they thinking of specifically?
They list examples like executives, managers, consultants, customer support agents, basically anyone who feels like they live in their inbox. These groups are likely to see substantial benefits, according to the source.
Where does this fit in the current landscape, though? We've seen other companies adding AI features to email already.
That's true, yeah. We have tools like Superhuman AI, Shortwave, Canary Mail. They offer various levels of smart features, often focused on maybe summarization or simply drafting assistance.
And Microsoft.
Right. Microsoft's Copilot for Outlook also provides AI assistance, particularly with summaries and drafting suggestions within their ecosystem.
So, according to this report, what gives Google's approach the edge? What are they claiming is different?
Well, they seem to point to a few things. First, that deep native integration directly within Gmail and the wider Google Workspace ecosystem. That's a big one.
Okay.
They also highlight the potential depth of the personalization, leveraging DeepMind's advanced AI capabilities. And, as we discussed, that privacy approach using federated learning. Those are presented as key differentiators compared to existing tools, which might be more limited.
And who really stands to benefit most, practically speaking? The report lists several potential use cases, right?
Yeah, they give some concrete examples. Think about an executive who just gets flooded with CC'd emails and endless coordination requests. This tool could potentially handle a lot of that filtering and routine follow-up.
Makes sense.
Or customer support teams. They could use it to provide highly personalized yet rapidly generated responses to common inquiries, really scaling their output without sounding robotic. Students and academics managing huge volumes of administrative emails or listserv traffic could use it to filter and prioritize what actually matters. Sales professionals could automate personalized follow-ups, ensuring leads don't fall through the cracks due to manual effort.
So really broad applications for anyone drowning in email.
That seems to be the idea. The potential applications are broad for pretty much anyone who finds email to be a major time sink.
Okay, it sounds incredibly powerful. But, any technology this integrated inevitably raises concerns. What are the potential risks or downsides that the report itself acknowledges?
And the source does bring these up, which is good. The potential for privacy breaches or even surveillance is mentioned as a concern.
Despite federated learning.
Well, they position federated learning as a mitigation, but the concern itself is acknowledged. There's also the risk of over-automating interactions, maybe losing a necessary human touch or the AI making errors in judgment.
Right.
And that style mimicry feature, while potentially useful, could theoretically be misused. Impersonation is a concern.
Okay, so it flags the risks. How does the report say Google plans to mitigate these specific issues?
So for privacy, as we said, they point back squarely to that federated learning approach. Personal content not being centrally stored is the main safeguard mentioned.
And for over-automation?
Regarding over-automation, the report states clearly that users will retain control. They plan to include things like approval settings and confidence thresholds. Meaning, the AI might handle very routine tasks automatically, but perhaps flag anything outside its confidence level or anything needing explicit confirmation for the user to review first. You're still in the loop.
And the style mimicry misuse?
For that, the report implies safeguards are built in, restricting its use strictly to the verified account holder and including measures against deepfake-like impersonation attempts. They seem to be anticipating these potential problems.
So based on the source material, they're trying to build in user control and safety mechanisms right alongside the power.
That's definitely the picture the report paints. A potentially very powerful tool, but with considered approaches to the inherent risks. It aims to balance automation with user agency and privacy protection, at least as described in the source.
Looking ahead then, the report positions this tool as more than just another feature. It's framed as an early example of something bigger, intelligent agents.
Yeah, this is where the strategic vision really comes into focus, I think.
Yeah.
The report sees this AI email assistant as a kind of precursor.
A stepping stone.
Exactly, a precursor to a future where AI entities can handle a whole range of repetitive cognitive tasks autonomously. They envision these evolving into sophisticated digital co-pilots for professionals.
What are the implications of that?
Well, it could significantly impact administrative roles, for instance, by automating a lot of that routine cognitive work. But it could also potentially create new demands for human roles focused on overseeing, refining, and managing these AI assistants. It suggests a pretty fundamental shift in how we delegate work and maybe even how we collaborate.
So pulling back from all the specific details we've discussed, the core takeaway from this deep dive into the report seems to be that this Google DeepMind project isn't just like a small improvement on existing email tools.
No, definitely not. It's leveraging really cutting-edge AI, personalized learning, designed apparently with a strong focus on privacy and that deep integration into the workflow tools so many of us already use daily. The report positions it as a significant step towards a whole new level of personal automation. It's a clear move by Google to try and lead the next evolution in workplace productivity.
And the report offers this vision for the future. If this kind of technology is successful, it could fundamentally change our relationship with our inbox.
Right, transforming it from what often feels like a source of anxiety and just sheer workload.
Into what?
Into potentially an efficient hub of intelligent, automated collaboration.
It's certainly a compelling possibility, freeing up all that time and mental energy currently consumed by email.
It really is.
Which leaves us, and you, with this thought to consider. If an AI could genuinely manage your inbox, draft communications that sound like you, and even handle those low-level decisions autonomously, What does that free you up to focus on in your work or even in your life?
And perhaps on a deeper level, what does it truly mean to delegate not just tasks, but actual aspects of your digital communication identity to an AI? It's something to really think about.